Okay, so I'm going to go over the primary research results because that has to be done by the end of this week. So, um, well, I mean, okay, it's going to be, you're going to see it's titled Game Training Analysis. Um, that's just because that was the name of the form that I gave out. That was the title of it. So, just first bit of results. What rank are you? Um, there was only three options. I only gave this format to people who I knew were masters and above. Um, What I didn't realise is 50% of them were top 500, 50% of them were Grandmaster. So, we're literally getting like the top 1% of all of Overwatch. Well, not maybe not all, like probably top 3%, top 1% of the European um, region though. And I'm pretty sure one of the players might actually end up playing for the Finland World Cup team and our top OD player. They're incredible. So they're just crazy good. Anyway, I believe this is them with that answer. But so how many hours a week do you play ranked? Um, Let me just open the source up as well. So um, half and half between 7 and 8 and 13 and 14. There was one other and one 11 to 12. And the other was if answer above was other, how much do you play in a week? 20 plus. I'm not going to be managing 20 plus hours a week, unfortunately. That's just not going to happen. But I spoke with Mick. I've already been on this training schedule um, for about 2 weeks now. His recommendation was 2 hours a day, every day. Um, he kind of already given me a schedule which I've been working on and just using that. Um, so, do you scrim? 83% said yes, 16% said no. Interestingly, despite not everyone saying yes, everyone agreed it is useful. Some interesting results. I think I've already went over this. But do you think scrimming is useful to improving why/why not? Somebody just put very. I mean, that's not the why, but we got a yes, and then these were the bigger answers. It is useful. You learn to play the game as a team instead of playing for solo impact like in ranked. It's useful even if you only scrim low GM or even less. It's still more high paced than average GM1 game. Yes, having all five players in the same match, which isn't possible in ranked, is vital to improving team play. And this one I really enjoyed. Yeah, it can improve. Uh, yeah, it can improve as it can change people's perspective and way of thinking matches. I really enjoyed that answer, and I liked seeing that there's like quite a deep level of thought process that can go into that. It changes your perspective of thinking in the game. You know, and hearing coaching from Mick or whatever coach I've got where they give specified individual tips to a certain player, and then I can hear that, and then I can say, okay, well, if that's an issue that's going to be happening in Scrim, maybe I can implement that into a ranked game, and sometimes it can upturn fights or win games, and small little changes to help understand the game a little bit better, and it helps change your perspective. It helps change your point of view. You begin to understand and recognize things in other areas of gameplay like the support role or the DPS role, and it helps you make those little micro changes that allow for an overall larger change in the entire game. Um, so if answer above was yes, how many hours a week do you scrim ideally? If we just hover over here, we had 2 for 8, 2 for 10, and 1 for 4. Um, I probably can't fit in 8 hours a week, so we'll reduce that number. I'm currently on a 3 scrims a week schedule, so each scrim is 2 hours, so about 6 hours a week. And again, I'm very, very. I struggle with time a lot. I always find that if I'm spending too much time doing something, or if I'm not getting enough time elsewhere, I very often start to become quite upset and it distresses me a lot and it really puts me off. Um, so for me, anyway, the way that I look at that is, as much as I would like to scrim 10 hours a week, it's hard to justify being able to, because if I'm playing 2 hours a day and then I'm also scrimming 10 hours a week, and then also league games for the Dragons, then it starts becoming like a 25 hours a week sort of thing, where yes, this is where I want to push myself to be eventually, but right now I'm in the area where committing that much time really isn't an option because I have so much going on. Maybe if I didn't have college and I had all 5 weekdays to just be completely free, I could probably end up committing that much. Maybe not on scrims, but a lot more in ranked. But it's just difficult with with so much stuff to do. Um, Having said that, I probably could fit this in. It would just mean making a lot of sacrifices. Um, and right now, I don't know if that's something I'm willing to do. How many hours a night do you sleep? How many hours do you sleep most nights? Um, 7 to 8 is the most common answer, 50%. There's a 9 to 10 with two, and then 5 to 6 for one. Um, Aiming for 7 to 8 hours a night links up with NHS suggestion for 7 to 9 in the physical health bit. I mentioned it somewhere. Physical health. There you go. Adults need 7 to 9 hours of sleep every night. Um, so 7 to 8 seems reasonable enough. So that's what we're going to be aiming for anyway. I mean, we can change it to 7 to 9, but I'd say 7 to 8 is perfectly fine for me. I tend to get that much anyway. So that's what we're going to look for. Um, sorry, how many hours do you play before each VOD? Um, so 50% said 5 plus. Um, one said 4, and two said 2. 5 hours of gameplay between each VOD is or 5 plus hours. Is this different to what I need to do as it's harder to correct mistakes at such a high level? And then again, Mick suggested a VOD every day / every other day with 2 hours a day. So Mick's suggestion was play for 2 hours a day, and then at the start of a new 2 hour session, I should also do about half an hour of VODing and just go over my gameplay. And once I've went over gameplay, then I get the 2 hours. And he said, at most, we do every other day. That is the biggest gap that we ever go for VODing because the likelihood is either you've corrected a mistake or you haven't started correcting the mistakes that you should be correcting or stuff like that. There's probably just going to be a reason um, as to why 2 hours might not be working. And obviously at a high level, the changes are so small to gameplay that it can be difficult maybe to implement changes. If a change is something so simple as standing 2 meters or 1 meter or legitimately 2 steps closer to a wall, trying to implement such a small change, such a fine detail, might take longer than 2 hours, which is why maybe these players are doing every 5 hours. Although I do think that's crazy because that's probably only like 2 or 3 VODs a week going off how much hours people are saying that they play. Um, how often do you leave the house? 8 plus times a week. Um, I think the 33, so 50% said 8 plus. Um, 33 said 7 times, and 16% said 3 times a week. Need to get out more because if I'm being completely realistic about actually like leaving the house and doing something outside of the house, we're probably looking at like once or twice a week. I don't know if I have to be outdoors. or of getting out the house. I think being outdoors is best. Um, do you do any sort of physical training, cardio, weights, um, sports, etc.? And everybody said yes to that, which makes me think that I should probably start getting a hobby too. Um, most what was I gonna say? Something about most people. I like jujitsu. I like jujitsu a lot, so maybe I just continue with jujitsu. And now I've made a week plan of how every day will roughly look. So every day besides Wednesday is the same. So 7 a.m. wake up, go for a run. Come home at 7:50 a.m. Home, do my stretches. Give myself 20 minutes for that. At 8:10, I have a shower, eat breakfast, and get myself ready. Moisturize, Vaseline, get dressed, dry hair. That gives me 50 minutes to do that. 9 a.m. VOD review. 9:30 a.m. get my 2 hours. 11:30 a.m. done. Repeat. Not repeat. 8 a.m. wake up, get ready. 9 a.m. back until 12:30 p.m. 12:30 p.m. lunch until 1 p.m. 1 p.m. VOD review. 1:30 p.m. get my 2 hours done. 3:30 p.m. done. Thursday, same thing again with Tuesday and Monday. And then Saturday and Sunday, same thing yet again. Getting up at 7 a.m. and going for a run every morning is going to be disgusting. It doesn't necessarily have to be a run. What my physical health thing suggested was not going for a run. This is just like my basic plan. This isn't finalized yet. I'll probably assess this and then go over my actual plan in my second vlog. This is just a basic plan, but it takes around about 4.5 hours with this schedule. I don't even necessarily have to do 45 minutes of training like the pro esports players. I could legitimately go for a 30-minute run, be home at 7:30, have had a shower and stretched by 8, ready at 8:30, VOD review, then college, and then be done by 11 a.m., which is a little bit better. And then I could do that 3 days a week. And then, so, maybe I could substitute this so that pushes everything back and be done half an hour earlier, potentially. Um, and then on this day, rather than waking up and going for a run, we substitute that for sit-ups, press-ups, squats, tricep dips. There's probably some sort of bicep workout that I can do as well. A calisthenics workout, and then shower. And that would probably take less time as well. A calisthenics workout would probably take about 30 minutes. So then again, 7:30 a.m. Probably had my shower and stretched by 8 a.m. Wednesday we take that day off because it's such a heavy day. I play at 4 p.m. league game. I have to get 2 hours in, and then typically I have a scrim on Wednesdays too. So then that's already 5 hours of my day gone. Let alone the getting up at 7 a.m. sort of thing. You know, that'd be about 7 hours of my day gone immediately if I was to try and do that. And also, the suggestion was for my the suggestions were 2 to 3 days of physical exercise. So I could technically only do 4 days of working out, and then the rest of the days, I get 3 days off then. I can take my Wednesday and my weekend off, as I do have work on weekends, so that makes things a little bit more difficult. Or I'd take all 3 college days off, so I don't have to get up at 7 a.m. and try and work out before college, which is at 9. Because as of right now, I'm getting up at 7 and then in 2 hours, I'm working out, stretching, showering, breakfast ready. To be fair, it does only take me about 40 minutes to get ready. So I got about an hour and 20 minutes to stretch and go work out. And obviously with college as well, I could technically get up at 8 a.m., go for my run, or work out in college time as that's allowed. I think the thing is, I might start a little bit slower than what I'm doing because what I'm doing right now, or what we're looking at right now, is throwing myself in the full deep end of 6 days of working out, which is the max that XL Esports did. Immediately saying 45 minutes or 50 minutes of a run or whatever, that's giving myself 5 minutes leeway to like wake up, get out of bed, get dressed, go for a run, come home, do stretches then in 20 minutes, then shower and breakfast and stuff, then VOD review. Maybe I should take this a little bit slow and just say Wednesdays we get off, Saturday and Sunday we get off, and then we try a week on 4 days. And if we're feeling super comfortable and we think we can push this, then we add in, I guess the best rest day would be, we get 2 days here, 2 days here, take Sunday off, and then we do 3 days in a row: Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Monday, Tuesday. Actually, I think I'd probably take Saturday off because that's the day that I'm least likely to work. But that seems to make more sense to me of doing, easing myself in. The stretches I can do every day. Stretches apparently only takes 15 minutes, so once I've learnt those, that should be easy. But that's the basic outline. It's going to be a 4.5 to 5 hour job, 5 hour task. Um, just doing this little circuit. But the other thing is, if I get up at 7 in the morning, that gives me the rest of the day then, so it feels like it's less time off sort of thing. Whereas if I spread it out and allow it to take up a bulk of my day, such as getting up at 8 a.m., going to college, and then at 4 p.m. I've still got all my workout to do and 2 hours to get done. That makes it feel as if, because then it's then pushing about 4.5 hours, so I wouldn't be done until about 8:30. But if I can get up in the morning and do that and maximize my day, which can be tiring to say the least, but also less tiring and less draining than mentally anyway than the other option. So, but yeah, that's the game training plan slash thought process. I'm going to adapt that the weekly plan, and I'll create a solid weekly plan to start, and we'll do 1 or 2 weeks because I think we've got 5 weeks after half term, so I can do 1 or 2 weeks of the training on lesser time, and then I can say, well, actually, after 2 weeks of this, I feel like I can actually push myself a little bit further and maybe even become better. Um, and if I can push myself further and further, then realistically, that means that I'm only going to get better unless I burn out. In which case, we try to avoid that as much as possible by, by giving myself less stuff to do. Um, but yeah, that is the thought process so far, anyway.